Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333 and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order, the Ruin as the United Kingdom. Now, last video, well, we got kind of tangled up in a bit of a emerging problem with some rebellions over here in the Free British, giving us some headache. But we're actually doing okay, I think. So far, we're holding out in the Isle of Man. And then we're doing okay. We closed this front over here. We're about to take back the Cornwall Peninsula over here. So it's all coming together. "You fascist hag!" screamed one of the rioters, hurling a brick towards the MP that was his target, hoping to smash Fical's repugnant face in, as he was tackled to the ground by one of the overwhelmed policemen trying to hold back the tide of enraged Londoners. The brick not hit Jane Birdwood, as it was supposed to, but it did fly right into the chest of a black shirt to her left with an immediate thump, doubling him over in an instant. The other paramilitaries quickly formed a shield around a shield of sorts, around the group of harassed fascist MPs, protecting them from projectiles hurled across the Thames from Westminster Bridge by the rioters, almost running to the nearest entrance to Parliament now, held open by terrified clerks like the portcullis of a besieged fortress. Birdwood struggled not to scream. This was a nightmare. It had to be. The resistance was dead. It was destroyed. It couldn't have rebuilt itself so quickly. It couldn't have outmaneuvered them so completely. Could they? Suddenly, the smoke-filled air and furious shouting was replaced with ancient walls and frantic discussions. The doors behind the MPs slammed shut as their black shirts escort peeled off to aid the beleaguered police. It took everything she had for Birdwood not to fall to her knees in sheer relief. "Minister Birdwood, I need a moment to talk," came the stress-strained voice of Reginald Malding, crossing over to his nominal rival. "I've got a bill ready to stem the bleeding from our trade, but a few of your old guards are dissenting. Nall Kane's giving the green light. Could you please ask them to vote aye? We need unity." The rage of London echoed, and Birdwood nodded at once. Well, let's hope we can get things figured out. We're getting a new front line figured out here. That's right, I forgot about that. Yeah, you guys are actually ready to start pushing, it seems. So we'll see what we can do to tack up there. Oh wait, that's not meant to start pushing on up. Macedonian War. Nall Kane leaned back from his desk, his mind rushing at what felt like a million miles an hour. Countless different military plans for small ports, small towns, and small campgrounds across the country. That constant badgering of the factions within Parliament. Not only that, but he had to invest in Minor's squadron. If he was offered to go back to just being for the foreign minister, he would gladly accept it. The phone rang. His hand dragged across his face as he asked the assistant who was on the line. Kim Philby. Shock froze his face, and as quickly as his face froze, his hands picked up the phone. "Hello, this is the Prime Minister. What do you have to tell me?" "Sir, I have incredibly unfortunate news to tell you. As my sources say, he has several of the party's MPs in the Commons have flipped allegiance against London. They are currently working with the uprising as we speak. I have listed names here with me. Do you wish for me to list them now, or send them to your office later?" "Another thing to deal with. Why now? You already had too much to deal with, and now this." Nall Kane took a deep sigh. "No, just send them to my office. I can't bear another meeting today." "All right, Prime Minister. The documents should be there in an hour. Anyway, I'm afraid these defectors will look as sleeper agents and have stolen hundreds of documents. I suggest that you watch out for these sleeper agents, as they could be anyone. Goodbye, Kim." Nalkane slammed the phone down and placed his hand on his head. The adrenaline was rushing like a crazed German with an M14 to his stomach. He questioned briefly if he should stay sober for now, but then he thought, if this was an excuse for a drink, I don't know what I would be. There we go. Gotta crush these guys if we can. Though they're actually... not all now, they're sort of... Do they have a port here? It doesn't look like they do. Tricky Dick and Peach. Look at that. It was in the ruins of a bombed housing estate where they found her. The troops were advancing through a ruined suburb when they heard a soft cry coming from inside one of the wretched houses. They raided their weapons and stepped inside, only to see a 9-year-old girl sobbing on the floor, clutching a dirty doll. Sitting next to a pile of rubble. Underneath it, a single pale hand was sticking out. Oh god, I need to check this. Okay, we still have some time to figure that out. They just stood there, shocked at the sight. Swallowing, Ben decided to be the one to talk to her. Hello? What's your name? The girl didn't respond initially, only looking down, clutching her doll for dear life. Are Mommy and Daddy going to be alright? She asked, looking up at him. Ben felt something deep inside him waver. The girl had to know on some level their parents were never coming back, but that would never make it easier to tell her. No. I'm sorry. They've gone to heaven now, he said as calmly as he could. The girl's face plummeted even further and she began to sob. Panicking, Ben placed his hand on her shoulder. Shh. There. I know you must be very scared and sad right now, but if you come with me and my friends here, we can get you somewhere safe. How about that, huh? He extended his hand. She looked at him warily before taking it. Ben forced a soft smile. He knew that she would probably be shipped off to an orphanage as soon as they got back to base. Hopefully she'd find a good family, but the pain would never leave her. She lost everything in this war. As they left the ruined house, he turned back and looked, coming to one realization. He had a lot to lose as well. Let's see if we can fight over here and take leads back. We haven't targeted yet. Officer Jeffries did not expect to be essentially put on the front line of the war that day. It had started as they usually did. He had gently moseyed his way on down to the police station that morning, as he usually did, idly greeting Mrs. Poggett along the way. She asked about his family, he asked about hers, they parted. But when he reached the police station, the young officer was met with the sight of Constable Coombs, frantically hammering over planks of wood over the windows. The other man looked over his shoulder, a wild look flashing across his face before he became visibly relieved upon recognizing Jeffries. Thank God you're here, lad. Get in. Go on, he said. When Jeffries didn't budge, his face grew visibly stormy. I said get the hell inside! He yelled, violently gesticulating towards the door. Normally, he would have questioned why exactly Spear was behaving like an unhinged maniac, but a look in his eyes told him not to question it. He complied, jogging inside the police station. Instead of the usual quiet atmosphere, he was met with every officer he had known hurriedly rushing along, all looking deeply worried. Suddenly, he felt something cold and metallic being pushed into his hands. Take this, you'll need it, a gruff voice said, disappearing as fast as it arrived. He looked down and saw something he never expected to carry in his line of duty. A gun. He'd only been a police officer for 4 months, and he was being given a gun. Confused, Jeffries frantically scanned the station for a friendly face. There he saw Officer Trenway, another new recruit. He stood over, topping him a soldier. Well, what's going on, mate? We're in the middle of bloody East Anglia. What do we need guns for? The other officer answered, a grim expression right on his face. We're at bloody war, mate. Well... working on salvaging MI5. Perhaps the greatest shock and embarrassment of this rebellion was the revelation that our own Maxwell Knight, supposed loyal commander of MI5, was a mysterious boss and leader of resistance. With this revelation, the extent of resistance infiltration in our government has been laid bare, and it is not a pretty sight. Many of our supposedly loyal agents have defected, joining the resistance, leaving our intelligence staff barren of loyal staff. Luckily, despite the mass defections in the department, Kim Philby, a passionate fascist since the 30s, has remained loyal. In recognition of his loyalty, we shall appoint him to the head of MI5 and task him with filling in Knight's shoes. He has quite a task ahead of him, as the extent of Knight's corruption lies deep, yet he will triumph. He has to. Yeah. Kim Philby, well-known fascist, especially in our timeline, even in the TNO timeline. Alright, we've retaken Leeds. That was a big point of contention for us. So these guys attack into us. And with that, we're going to crush. I almost want to start seeing if we can do some general offensive lines with these guys. And we're succeeding a little bit in some areas. At least in Coventry, which we already kind of had as a core. On His Majesty's Secret Service. Noel Kane sighed as he put down the phone, being able to think for less than a second before his thoughts were drowned out by the siren of a passing police car. Groaning, he leaned back in his chair and waited for the new head of MI5 to enter the makeshift office of the PM. Right on time, Kim Philby, one of the few senior agents of MI5 still loyal to the collaboration government, strode in through the door. Seeming a great deal more at ease than anyone else given in the country, was quite literally collapsed before their eyes. Philby, take a seat. I take it you realize why you're here? Of course, Prime Minister. Philby replied, crossing his legs. When do I begin? As soon as possible. We need to save what we can of MI5, and fast. Who knows how many spies that damned communist Knight planted while he was in charge? You'll need to do full purge. Make sure everyone's loyal. Everyone. Philby nodded along, replying, I'll do what I can, sir. You can rest assured that I and all true sons of Britain in intelligence shall work tirelessly to see the traitors destroyed and their influence cleansed from our shores. Establish bunkers there. Where was I? I'll pick up here. Philby nodded along, replying, I'll do what I can, sir. You can rest assured that I and all true sons of Britain in intelligence shall work tirelessly to see the traitors destroyed and their influence cleansed from our shores. Noel Kane grinned. Now there was that fire that he needed. There was the determination and will that would win them the war. However, sir, such a purge will take time, I'm afraid. We need MI5 up and running as soon as possible. We hope to achieve victory in this war. I will, of course, carry out enhanced surveillance of our operatives and other such measures, but for now, I believe our focus should be on winning the war. Agreed. Most of the traitors will have defected with Knight already, I'd imagine. But keep an eye out all the same, and make sure every one of them ends up dead. Philby gave one final nod and shook the grateful Prime Minister's hand before leaving, quickly suppressing a satisfied smirk as he headed off to get to work. A most loyal gentleman. Damnable traitors! Dishonorable curs! Blasted Jacobites! While I've been shouting and screaming such insults for the past 5 or so minutes, enraged at the news that had just reached him, the crossbenchers who had been oh so inactive all those years the BPP had been in power, never bothering to show up to Parliament or even join the party, hadn't done so out of apathy as he suspected, but contempt. Nearly all of them had joined up with resistance. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't understand it. Why? Why were all these men and women, from barons to dukes, so eager to aid an unwashed horde of vagabonds, communists, and cutthroats? Did they not realize the peerage was doomed if these American puppets won? To say nothing of the communists who formed the bulk of their forces, had they forgotten their hatred for all things noble? Why? What could have possibly driven them to such an act? How could they be willing to risk their own annihilation for the vague platitudes of democracy and freedom that the resistance offered? Loyalty to Elizabeth? Did they still not see Edward's removal from the throne was illegitimate and unjustified? Walt would never understand why so many peers had joined the resistance, why so many felt disgust and horror at the new Britain Germany had created. But he did understand one thing. When the dust had settled and if victory belonged to the government, then the balance of power in the House of Lords would forever be altered in his favor, and there would be many baronies and duchies in need of new noblemen to take up the stewardship. Baronies and duchies that could soon belong to his own men. Alright, let's do... Man must hold. Whilst the island is in chaos, we must not forget our external enemy. To the north lies the infernal Republic of Iceland, the bastion of the OFN in Europe. They not only recognize the rebels as the official government, but also mock us openly by supporting the rebels, acting as a final stop for resistance aid for the Americans. From the Americans, rather. Battle for free trade, really fun. Westward, they are the Irish, our supposed allies in the pact, yet they remain curiously neutral in the matter of our current predicament, and frustratingly negligent in doing anything about the smugglers passing through the Irish Sea. It is thus crucial that we hold on to the Isle of Man, to prevent any more OFN aid from reaching our shores. Let's get these guys over here. And hopefully we can get these guys into Newcastle on time. Okay, these guys are free. We'll get these blokes pushing through there. We're about to start taking Wales, or moving into Wales at least. As well as Worcester. We'll see if we can sneak into Cardiff. Cardiff and Swansea. Should probably be a little careful. The end of a Hellenic state. We'll edit mode, get this front line extended. And then make sure, as long as we hold out here, we'll be okay. Peter! Called out the secretary, wandering through the halls of 10 Downing Street after hours. Peter! Where'd you go? At each turn in each room, she turned on the lights, poked her head in, and called out for the chief mouser. Her hope was that he would emerge from the shadows, a half-chewed rat in his mouth, as an apology for his absence. The rest of the officers had long since given up that hope. Ever since the Civil War had erupted, 10 Downing Street was a chaotic blur of harried civil servants and an ever-growing military presence, partly coordinating with the war alongside an arcane staff. Somewhere in that chaos, Peter III had quietly slipped away. Her search having exhausted all corners of the office, she was permitted to travel. The secretary then expanded to the streets surrounding Downing. When the day was done, she traveled to London with a tin of liver in hand, calling for the absent chief mouser. Every stray was a potential contact. Oh fuck, they took it over. God damn it. When the day was done, she traveled to London with a tin of liver in hand, calling for the absent chief mouser. Every stray was potential contact, every chewed pigeon in an alleyway a clue. She pursued her work with tireless dedication, searching for the one thing that made this blasted job worthwhile. On the 10th day of her search, she went to Soho Square Gardens. It was night, and electric lights bathed the park in warm amber. In this period of national emergency, all was still, save the faint whir of jet engines and jackboots on concrete. There, between the legs of Charles II marble statue, Peter III was curled up. His eyes shone with delight. Liver in hand, she slowly approached the cat. He rose his head, but did not move. She set the liver down on the base of the statue, and Peter III poked, prodded, and finally ate the gift. He craned his neck up and looked at the secretary, whose hand was extended towards him. She liked to think that she understood what he was thinking. The soft purr, the nuzzling of her open hand, was a final thank you. Then he turned and leaped off the statue, scurrying into the bushes. It was as close to resignation a cat could give. Peter III spent his final days roaming England, whose adventures are beyond all scope. You know what? At least someone gets a happy ending. speaking of happy endings, I'm ending the video here. But thanks always for watching, gang. Like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike, leaving comments or feedback down in the comment section below. I read all of them, and I appreciate any all feedback you might have from me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. And yeah, that's it for now, gang. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.